Pete, welcome to SNC Comics Podcast, episode number 9. Today, you're gonna have to say that name.
Well, my name is Kyrun Silva.
Say it again.
Kyrun
Silva.
Yep.
Do you have it backwards? Is that why?
No.
Oh, just making sure.
I'm a writer.
I shrank the font too, so it's also just hard to see. Oh, whoops, that's the wrong way. Let me make that bolder.
It's a weird name, so I understand.
Yeah, we don't show my last name because that just scares people. So how you doing today?
I'm doing all right. It's a little hot here where I am. We were at 100 degrees yesterday and low 90s today.
Nice. So where are you from?
Sacramento, California.
Oh, nice. I got a bunch of friends over in that area. So yeah, they were saying it was like 109 yesterday.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that sucks. And apparently San Diego was like 75. So it was like, yeah, let's just,
Yeah, San Diego, Northern California, or Southern California, always mid-70s throughout the entire year. It sucks. I don't get that, but, whatever.
That's fun. So for all of our audience members, who are you and what do you do?
Well, like I said, my name is Kyrun Silva. I am I am Taurus Comics. I produce comics for the last 3 years. I write, I draw, I letter, I color. I do everything at this point.
Awesome.
What inspired you to make comics?
I've always wanted to make comics since I was like 10, 11 years old. Starting off from like watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and catching their comics, making my own little Ninja Turtle comics on themselves. And then about 5 or 6 years ago, my wife was like, why don't you just make your own comics? I'd always had like all these ideas that I'd been writing down, had a bunch of sketches of drawings I liked, and she was like, just make it. Researched what I needed and started on my own.
Yeah, it's not easy.
How much it would be of my life at this point when I started, I decided I figured it'd be something I wanted to do this for fun. And I didn't realize 6 years later I'd be doing it for fun.
That is awesome.
Thanks.
So what's your ultimate goal with your comic books? Like where do you see this going in the future?
I don't know, honestly. I mean, ultimately, I would love to this be like a nationwide series or nationwide comic company, like an IDW, Boom, whatever. I mean, I doubt I'll ever get to top 3 like the Image, Dark Horse, Marvel, DC type thing, but I'd love to be able to just say my comics are at different shops around the country, if not the world. My ultimate dream would be to one day come home and tell my wife, hey, babe, you can quit your job. I'm now doing this enough where I can support both of us type of deal. That's my ultimate dream right now.
Very awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, we have. Something.
Oh, no, go ahead.
What I want is our company to basically be like what you said, is like we have like a big building, but I want other indie creators to actually come to our building and then they can like do their own shit.
Oh, nice.
But we won't own you. Or anything.
I don't know about the own me part. That's
Yeah, well, it's kind of like being able to be like an incubator for indie creators and allowing them the space and resources to grow, where most of the time, whether it's due to a lack of knowledge, a lack of resources, or a lack of resourcefulness, just because they're unaware of what they do have, it's something that we want to be able to help provide.
So you guys are trying to be the next Alterna or the next Action Labs, where you just bring in other people's books and help them distribute it.
Yeah. It's not just the distribution though. It's also the so we've been helping connect people. So if they need artists, if they need writers, if they need letterers, things like that, then it's we're trying to also just be a place where even if you only use this as a resource and change it off and do your own thing, that's fine. It's just we realized as we were trying to just create our own company how hard it was. And so we're like, why don't we, while we're doing this, like document what we're doing so that we can help others figure it out a little faster. And so then instead of just documenting it, why don't we document it and then create a company around helping others do that as well? So it kind of just keeps changing what we're doing along the way and adding to it. And we meet people that have a similar vision as well. And if they advanced a little further in a certain section of what they plan on doing, then we kind of just like partner with them and try to work with them and redirect people to them if they have the resource that we don't.
Oh, that's cool. That's very cool.
So we actually have Shaman's Destiny on our platform. So why don't you tell people like what's that about?
Shaman's Destiny, which I think you guys have issue 1 on the platform right now. It's a 6-issue miniseries about a young shaman by the name of Malik, who is the latest in a long line of shamans from his grandfather, his father, everybody in his household were shamans. And the story is a coming-of-age story where he's learning about what it is to be a shaman, his abilities, and what it means to protect the world from anybody that uses dark magic. Along the way, he battles zombies, demons from other dimensions, and he has to basically make his way from Mexico all the way through California up into Nevada to find the source of his powers to basically fight the final boss. Is the ultimate story. Thank you.
Yeah, you got an elevator pitch because that sums it up pretty good.
And how about XOB?
So SAW the Lightning Wielder. It's right now we have 2 issues out. I'm working with a creative team to get issue 3 out in December. What that is your standard superhero story about a young woman who gets infused with the lightning god from Asia. The difference though that most of the characters in this story are all based off of Southeastern Asian mythology. There's a group of nomadic people from Asia called Hmong that helped the United States during the Vietnam War. And I got a lot of the stories from them that I felt that would be really great to translate them into comics.
Pretty awesome. Is that actually what's behind you right now?
This character is SAW. So you can see it right there. And then we have, this is the main character from Shaman's Destiny, and then this is the next series called Ruby from Planet Oz, which I'm working on right now.
Oh yeah, why don't you tell us about that one as well then?
Okay, well, Ruby from Planet Oz is the sci-fi version of The Wizard of Oz, where instead of Dorothy getting sucked up by a tornado and getting sent to Oz, she now gets sucked up through an alien abduction, lands on planet Oz and she has to basically free the planet from the evil Queen of the West. Along the way, she meets up with the Lion, who is a cage fighter. Tin Man is now a soldier who has been experimented on, and now he's mostly robotic. And the Straw Man, I can't remember what his name is now, but Scarecrow. Scarecrow is now a farmer whose family was wiped out during the Queen's rampage, and he went into binge drinking, almost killed himself, and Ruby basically saved him from ending his own life.
Nice. That's actually really awesome. Yeah. That's cool. I feel like the original Wizard of Oz is simply somebody telling that story, but they were tripping on acid, so everything was magic.
I don't know if you've ever read any of the books from the Wizard of Oz series or just seen the movies, but the books were fantasy like craziness on it. I mean, and there's so many things that were taken out of the book that they didn't put into the movie, which made the book so much more interesting and more exciting. Like the witch had like a lot of the power. She had like the telescopic vision, and she had
a lot of stuff that they left out in the movie. Because like movies back then, they were very limited on what they could do. And but yeah, I did hear that there was a lot more like evil stuff that happened in the book that they left out for film's sake.
Yeah, and I wanted to take aspects of that and put that into my story to make it a little bit more not really adult theme, but more gruesome in its own way.
Yeah. It's funny too because there's that new movie, The Joker, that's coming out, and that's like a huge controversy with that. It's like people looking too much into the darkness, and it's like, you know, sometimes talking about it is a good thing, And the people that take it out of context and do evil things with it will take anything. Like, oh, something was burned into my toast this morning. That must mean I'm supposed to go do something bad. Where it's like, no, like those people are beyond what these films are for, and the people that make the films can't, But like that's the reason they do it, is to explore that dark side. And it's like some people's favorite movies and video games are when you explore the villains and stuff. So it's always cool to like have a more in-depth part of that.
Yeah, I would love to see that. I mean, I'd like to see the Joker itself going into that dark side, because most of the comics he's been a dark character. Just people get this assumption that he's this happy-go-lucky clown from the 60s Joker, which was more campy in itself, but everything else was a very dark, gruesome Joker. So I don't know why people have any problems with it.
Yeah.
What was your idea of like the book they had?
Of which one?
What they should have done for Batman.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah. It's funny because like I've read like the Dark Knight Rise or the Dark Knight series, like the Dark Knight 2. I don't know if it had a name, and then the Dark Knight 3 that came out last October or 2 Octobers ago.
Yeah,
and they're great stories, but it's like when they made the Batman versus Superman, there's so much they could have done with that to make it amazing and still have it be their own. Like that's the thing, is they didn't need to, exactly copy the original Dark Knight, but like just like where they went with it, if they just added a few more scenes here and there, that movie could have been phenomenal.
I mean, same thing for Justice League. There are scenes in Justice League that are really good and amazing, like the scene where they were fighting Superman and Superman catches the Flash. Like that was a badass scene, but everything else was just very lackluster.
Well, it's because they didn't do any character development up until that point. Batman didn't. This is a new Batman, so we don't know what his demeanor is. We don't know how close he is to, like the old Batman and Robin or the, Dark Knight. Like, where is he on that scale? And then we got, what was it, Aquaman, who had no introduction, and then like the Flash, who basically the only Flash anyone's been seeing for the last few years is the one on. What is it, with the Warner Brothers or CW, whatever, right? So you're used to that kind of version, and then you get this guy who's, even though he's smart, he's almost an idiot, right? Like it doesn't make it. And then Cyborg comes out of nowhere. Like Cyborg probably had the most in-depth story in that movie, which I was actually very excited about, because I would have loved to have seen just a Cyborg movie. Like he's a fascinating character when you learn a lot more about him, and it's like. That would have been like that was why I was excited that they did at least that. But like the Flash, they were like, yeah, he's here. We've known about him. Cool, join. Like what? It's like, so yeah, they definitely saw the opportunity of Avengers, but didn't see why the Avengers was so great. They were like, the reason why the Avengers was so great is because we loved every character individually, and then they came together. And instead they're like, well, we did Batman, we did Batman and Superman, and we did Superman. Yeah, that's good enough. Let's just make them all fight now. And it's like, it was crazy. But yeah. Anyways, off of Marvel and DC. So first off, I was curious, how many cons have you gone to?
God, at least I'd probably about one a month.
One a month. Damn, that's awesome. How long have you been doing that for?
About 5 years now. No. 3 years, about one a month. So I'd probably say at least a good 40 to 50 cons.
See, that's promotion. That's pretty awesome. So that's that's very cool, because one of the things that we're looking to do in the future is because we were talking to another group that's trying to do something similar to ours. They're trying to be completely nonprofit. We would like to be profitable, but one of the reasons why we do want to build some income is the fact that we want to be able to use that money to go to conventions to actually help promote people that are working with us. So if we see that, comic A on our site is doing really well, we're going to pay to print them and then bring them to conventions with the income we're getting from, distributing these online in the first place. So it's definitely that's incredible that, having gone to 50 cons. How many unique conventions have you gone to?
I mean, that's hard to say, because like just this year alone, I think I've gone to 7 or 8 different unique cons, but every year it's going to be different. Like I I just got signed up for next month to do an in-store signing for a store that's going to do like a Halloween themed event. And I've done that for last year too. So it varies depending on where it's going to be at. But I mean, I'd probably say, sorry, I just threw something on my dog. Hold on. She's asleep right next to me. I dropped something off the table and she got mad. I think unique cons are weird because you don't know what to expect also. So it's sometimes it's a little scary to do a comedy that you haven't done before, or something that's not out of your normal, normal genre that you want to do. Like a lot of people say I should try like horror events and more sci-fi events. I'm like, well, my stuff isn't really, targeted to that kind of audience. And if I can't guarantee that I'm at least going to make table, I probably won't do an event.
Yeah, and honestly, it can be fun to branch off, but if you've already got something that you're really diving into, people are already enjoying it. It's good to almost double down on that, as opposed, like, what is it? Gary Vaynerchuk. You follow him at all?
It sounds familiar. Is that the
what?
Is that the self-help guy?
He does a lot of stuff like that. He hates to be called that, but yeah, he's the guy that actually. I gotta wait. One second. There's a poster of him over there. Although that's a cartoon version of him, ironically, written on a comic book.
Nice.
But he's the guy that does social media marketing, and but yeah, he does a lot of talks where he talks to, or a lot of keynote speeches where he talks to people, and he's like, it's all about being happy as opposed to making a ton of money. But I was bringing him up. Damn it, I was bringing him up for a reason. I totally tangented. What were we just talking about? We're talking about conventions. Going to ones you haven't been. Oh, tangenting off to horror as opposed to sticking with your niche. He talks about doubling down on your strengths and just letting someone else cover your weaknesses. There's actually another guy, Tim Ferriss. He talks about you should take everything that you do for whatever you're doing, and to eliminate some of those tasks, you can delegate to others, completely eliminate and remove, automate if you can with software, and then the last one's liberate, which is, handing off even your reins to somebody else. Obviously, that's different if you're an artist because that's the part that you're doing. But everything else, whatever you can reduce is super helpful in that sense. And then you can only focus on your craft and become so good at that that's you want to stand out for one thing, because if you're known for everything, you're known for nothing. It's very hard to be the all-around guy.
I get that. I'm working with a writer right now, a writer and an artist team, to produce it's a series that's based off of the song "Grandma Got Ran Over by a Reindeer." Everybody knows the song, but if you actually look at the lyrics and listen to them, it's a very gruesome story. Grandma's walking down the street, she gets ran over by this random reindeer. No one knows what happens. Everybody thinks she was drunk. And I was like, well, why can't I turn that into, why can't we see what actually happened? So I decided I'm going to do that. And I started working with a writer by the name of Joseph Duas, who he goes into a little bit more of a horror niche than I do. I was like, dude, you're perfect for this, because that's the type of story I want to tell with this. So I get that if you can get other people to do the work for you that's going to do it better, go for it.
That's good. Yeah. On to the last question too. Basically, one of the things that holds a lot of creators back is not being able to find the time to do what they need to do to get stuff done. How do you specifically set aside time to for your creation, for your promotion, for everything that you do to grow your grow it from nothing to something and then share it?
Late nights and early mornings are the best time for me to work. And then I get this about an hour to 2 hour gap when all my kids are at school, because I have 3 boys that are in high school, elementary school, and preschool. So I have about a 2 hour gap where I'm not dropping off kids or taking care of everybody. I eat my lunch real quick, do any kind of promotion and work I can, and then get off and do family stuff again. But mostly I'm up about 5, sometimes 4 o'clock in the morning working, drop them off to school starting at 7, and then I get done with family stuff around 9 o'clock at night, and I'm sometimes working until midnight, just doing what I can. But you have to find the time, and And you have to find, if you're like me with a family, you have to make sure that your family's okay with that also, and that they understand and they're willing to work with you. Because if your family's not going to be okay with it, you're going to have more turmoil than just financing not coming in.
No, very good point. Oh, that's awesome because it's funny too because that is something Gary preaches is like you should be pushing on all of those edges where you can. Like, you know, if you don't have time, stay up an extra hour later. It's fine. You can give up a little bit of sleep. It's okay. You know, it's okay to lose a little sleep now so you can have your dream in the future, as opposed to, well, at least I was well rested before I died. You know, like it's a very
very well.
So it is. It's so true though. Like that's the kind of stuff where, like, you know, a lot of people when they can't find time, it's mostly because they're exhausting themselves in a job they hate. So when they get home and have the time, they're so mentally fatigued, and they don't realize that if they just pick up the pen or start typing, whatever it is that they need to do, whether it's their business or it's comic books, you know, if they just get a little into it, that autopilot will kick in if it's something you're really passionate about. And you go with it.
If you're really wanting to do it, just take that moment and try. And you'll find that once you start putting yourself into whatever your goal is, you'll start getting there. It might take a little bit longer because you have to rest or go to work or what have you. But once you get home, take care of yourself for an hour or so, and then just do it. Don't complain that it's going to be hard or you're going to be tired. Just do it, and you'll find that extra bit of energy pops in, and caffeine or adrenaline pops in, and you just keep going, and you want to keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess while we still got you here, what are some other interesting things just about you? Like, what do you do in life outside of comics?
Probably the most interesting thing is I am practicing Taekwondo. My son and I practice it. My son just got his black belt last year in December, and I get my black belt next year.
Very cool.
So it will be my first black belt in the martial arts, because I have another belt in a different martial arts from when I was younger, which is really great.
What martial arts was that?
Tong Sudo.
Tong Sudo, is that what you said?
Yeah, Tong Sudo. It's North Korean style Tong Sudo, and then Taekwondo South Korean style.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I'm a yellow belt.
I was a yellow belt once too.
I was a yellow belt a very long time ago, and then there was like a tournament that we had to go to, and I'm like, okay, but my family has this like water park thing planned, and they're like, okay, so you either get your face kicked in or you go to the water park. I'm like, I'm gonna go to the water park.
Yeah.
So after that, they're like, yeah, you're done with this. I was like, oh, all right.
That was fun. Yeah, Greg knows, but yeah, I've been taking Jeet Kune Do for like the last 5 years. Yeah, so that's been awesome. I actually just took what'll be my last test for a while, because I'm moving to Nashville in like 2 days. So yeah, that's gonna be fun. But the school I've been going to, like literally last night, I just passed my like level 7 test. They have 10 levels in the art. Not in all of them, because it depends on what lineage you go to, what school you go to, and they have a bunch of different random ways to advance. They don't have like a synchronized way that all the schools function, which is also kind of cool. Yeah. It's specifically because there's like 2 versions of it. There's like the martial art of Jeet Kune Do, and then there's the philosophy of Jeet Kune Do. And the philosophy is a much more fluid thing. So, for example, at my school, I've learned Muay Thai, Silat. What else? I've learned Wing Chun, push hands, Greco-Roman wrestling. Like what was it? I've learned a little bit of Taekwondo, specifically, obviously for kicking, because they're very effective. That's one of the things that we do. Is like the philosophy itself is take that which is useful, discard what is useless, and add what is uniquely your own. And that's the reason why it can be so fluid in so many schools. Where the martial art of Jeet Kune Do is known as Janfeng Gong Fu, which is so Jeet Kune Do was created by Bruce Lee and Dan Inosanto. Obviously the late Bruce Lee, but Dan Inosanto's still around, and he's got his lineage, which is where I branch off of. And there's another side of students that were under Bruce, and they teach like how he did Jeet Kune Do as opposed to the philosophy. So it's like, this is how he punched and kicked, so that's how you should do it. And then there's also like, here's a general rule. So like in general, we don't kick to the head, but I still kick to the head all the time. It's just that it's so easily seen that it's very easy to dodge when you're in like a real fighting situation. It's very easy to just lean back a little bit when you're in kicking range. At least if you're training for it, obviously, and not everyone's gonna dodge that. But it's also easy to get caught. It's easy to get all that stuff. So that's one little small rule. But yet I still kick to the head. It's not like I don't do it. It's just one of those like guidelines, which is why I like it. There's a lot of things like that where it's they kind of they're like, this is how you can do stuff. But yeah, maybe you're really good at kicking, so add those in every once in a while, as opposed to maybe you can't pick your leg up past your hips because you're older, right? So don't kick up like that.
That's where I'm at right now. Older, like I can't get my leg up as high as I want to anymore. Sure.
You just got to get into yoga. That's all. That's what I do.
Sorry, it's too much work.
Listen, I'm trying to create a comic book. I don't got time for yoga and taekwondo.
Exactly.
I got time for one of these. That's it.
No, I told my son that once I get my black belt, I'll probably branch off to something else because our school also does judo, and I've wanted to try that for a while.
Very cool.
Maybe I might switch into that because I just won't have time to do both practices, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely judo, or if there is something around there that does like BJJ, if you want to get into grappling, like that stuff's really good. Like that'll. Yeah. One of my classmate, or my uke, the one that we both spar with, and we've been leveling up since we joined. He started going to a BJJ school, like while still going to our school. So I've been rolling with him, wrestling essentially, and we've been going back and forth, and for a while that was like where my forte was. Like I could get him quite a bit of time, most of the time. And all of a sudden he starts doing BJJ, and I start to get him in something. He just sneaks the fuck out. I'm like, oh my god, like what just happened? So like that, that stuff's really good. Judo's amazing at throwing, but like BJJ, like once you get to the ground, like they're crazy. Like
school gym here in Sacramento that I thought about trying out for just to see what it's like. And then I don't know if you guys follow mixed martial arts, but Uriah Faber is from Sacramento. And he has his own training facility here too.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. There's so many names I lose track of them now, just because my instructors talk about like, look at this guy, look at that guy, because like I said, we learn from various martial arts, and then we apply them into how we would use things. So like we have a specific stance that we'll use, but we can alter that stance how we want. So we have the Baizhang stance, like just our fighting stance. But like, there's been plenty of times while I'm sparring with someone, I'll go to like a more Muay Thai. I'll get the elbows involved, and it's very cool. But because of that, like whenever I get tangented off to names, I'm like, I've lost track of names. But that's the cool thing. I'm actually in March. I'm going to be moving out to San Francisco after my Nashville move, so I'll actually be out in that area because there's so many martial arts out there, which will be incredible. Like I'll be able to have a choice of whatever I want to learn, but there's definitely quite a few I'd love to advance in, like, BJJ I'd love to learn more of, Muay Thai. I'd love to learn even like the original Kung Fu, what is it, the five animals, the five, where it's like monkey, tiger, crane, snake, and what is it? What's that on? Damn, I always forget it. Cranes. Oh, mantis.
Oh, yeah. I was remember from the Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah, I know, that's what I was running through my head, because that's how they made that. Each of the five animals, other than the panda, is those five fighting styles. Yeah, it's pretty funny. And actually, the other day, a friend of mine who takes tiger, I was actually doing not sparring, but just a drill where one of them's he's just attacking me, and I'll defend, and then I'll just attack him, and he'll just defend. And it's like so awesome, like going from what I know, having to fight someone who knows something totally different. And it's like really awesome too to know that, because that's the reason I like JKDs. It's essentially, it was one of the first mixed martial arts. It's known as a hybrid martial art because it takes from a bunch of various arts.
Yeah.
And so it's very cool to be able to spar with someone where I have to think about what I'm doing a little bit more, but to know that what I'm learning actually is still very effective, which is awesome.
That does sound awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, what we are planning on doing with our comics is for our artists, for this very big villain that we have planned in the future, he just does random fighting shit, like choreograph when he's just in the kitchen or whatever. Like, not even to me, sometimes to me. He beats the shit out of me. And we're actually gonna like videotape us like doing choreographed moves, and then we're gonna like slow it down so the artist can try to draw that. Because we want
realism.
Yeah. So it's just fucking awesome. So all of the action scenes, or most of them, are going to be actually acted out. The ending of the first story for the Seer Chronicles, we already acted it out. We didn't do it on video, but he acted it out because the thing I had, it wasn't as good as what he did.
It's funny. Like he's like the creator, and I'm just like the editor. So I'll just go through and be like, "This is a good start." A little bit more about what's going on over here, because you kind of just skip this entirely, and then sometimes they'll just go way in depth on something. I'm like, you can't do that much in one panel. That's a lot. Like you had 6 different motions in this one little scene. We got to break that apart a little bit.
That's what a good editor does. You make sure everything's really helpful. So you guys are a good team.
Yeah, yeah, it works out. So it's cool because like that's kind of how I work with everything else. Like I'm not always great at coming up with an initial idea, but if you give me like a small piece of an idea, like I'm like, oh man, but you could do this, and this. Like I tangent off with all these other things, but it's that little spark that's I need, which is awesome.
Very nice.
Cool. So I guess because we don't have any more direct questions. Do you have anything else you'd like to say to any of the viewers out there?
No, I mean, I just appreciate you guys having me on. This was fun, and I hope we can do it again.
Absolutely. And so, if people are looking for you, where do you want to lead them? What platforms are you on, and what's the tag?
Well, my main website is tauruscomics.com. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, and Twitter, all just at Taurus Comics. So feel free to like, share, review, whatever you want.
Awesome. So we'll keep you on for a second more, but we're going to end the podcast here. So thanks for joining us.
No problem.
Ciao. We'll do that. Nice. Okay. But yeah. So definitely after this, if you send us an email with all of your links, your website, and we'll put the link on our page where your comic is found as well. But maybe do you have like an events page, like where all your cons are coming up?
I don't update it. So it will be there eventually. I just haven't been able to update the website recently, but I do have an events link on there somewhere.
We actually have an event. I was just thinking about this. I haven't thought about it till just now.
Yeah,
we have an events calendar where we can put up events with a lot of detail. Like it's very, very helpful. So what we can make tickets too. Yeah, we can like link to ticket pages and cool things like that. But what I was just thinking about, what we could and should do is, because not all our creators go to conventions because they can't afford it, or they don't have the time, or they
haven't done it.
Well, we've gone to them, but we haven't been. Excuse me, a vendor. Thank you. But if we could get it where we actually have, whenever any of our like creators that are on our platforms, or even just people on the podcast, go to conventions, if we could put that on the calendar, I think that's a great way that we might be able to, if we have audience members that are like, oh, I'm going to be in the Sacramento area on this date, what's going on? And they could open up our calendar and see that stuff. So yeah, if you have even if you just have like a list of the places that you're going to be going and the dates, and if you have like your booth number or whatever, that'd be pretty awesome. We could put that all up on our site, and maybe we can even put it up on like our Facebook events page, so people can. It's just another way to like direct people to, because like I said, that's our main goal is like even like, for example, you're much further ahead than us on going to conventions, and so that's something where we can go, hey everybody, look at what he's doing. This is working really well. We're going to try to see what's useful, document it ourselves as well, and then feed it out to more people. But but definitely go check them out. Like, you know, and so as we help everyone else grow, it's also helping us grow just from learning about, you know, what's going on.
Yeah, I'm glad. Sounds like anything I can help with, let me know. I can provide assistance or whatever you guys need. So.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, like I said, definitely an email with all the links to all your social accounts, your website, wherever you're. Do you have any sites that sell? What?
You had to say like I had. I was like, what's going on?
What? What are you laughing at?
Just like,
I know the words. I'm trying to think of it's like, do you have any place that your comic is sold that is able to be bought online? Like, are there comic stores that you have your comics in that sell online?
That's so, outside of my own website, no. Well, Comixology, that you can do digital there, but that's it.
Okay.
we're also trying to do that. The creators that have the highest amount of unique views, we're looking to print comics for those. Yeah. We actually have a guy named Luke that actually wants to, he's going to give us money to do it, and then we're going to go through Ready Comics because that's like the printer that we go through. They're a dropshipping company. That's what we're going to use.
Yeah, actually, who do you use for printing?
Crap. What was the name? Oh, let me check there.
Is it a local place or is it
They're based out of Ohio, I think. They're page-by-page copies and printing. I found them through Facebook. They don't have an actual website. It's only through Facebook that you can draft to them. But
I build websites.
I mean, it works out really well. I pay them by PayPal. I can message the guy directly. The owner's name is Brian Dalton, and he does really good work. If I'm in a bind, I have a local printer here, but they're a lot more expensive. But if I need something like right away, they can get it to me within a week.
Oh, that's cool. Even stuff like that. Actually, if you could send us links to their pages as well, or the Facebook page for the one, but the local printer, okay. I don't even mind putting that kind of stuff on our site as a resource of eventually I'd like to have it where you could put in your zip code and it'll go, oh, okay, these are local printers in your area.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. So,
a system for it. That way, creators when they see something that's nearby, they can say, "Oh, these 5 creators rated it 4 out of 5 or 3 out of 5." Whatever.
I'd love to have all of that stuff. That's why it's there's so much stuff that I want to do for the site, but it's some of it is getting enough resources to make it valuable. So if I put one on there and they're like, hey, search for your area. Oh, turns out your area is not in here because you're not. Yeah, so it's more like as we collect stuff. So then it'll probably start off at first. I probably won't do zip codes. It'll be more like what state are you in? Just simplified. But even that will be helpful for people. Yeah. We have one of the people on our site, and he was on our pod. Was it episode 4, 3? One of the early ones. Yeah. He's from Ireland. We have another creator on our site. He's from Brazil. No, Argentina. Argentina. There we go. So we have people all over the world. So that's why it's we're trying to slowly collect. That's why that's what I mean. This thing is very upward bound, but there's a lot of stuff we got to get before we get there. So it'll definitely be helpful to get any resources we can along the way, because it's gonna be a trickle in and then slowly building up this database until eventually it's we hope to be so valuable. People are just how do I pay you? And it's just share the link. Yeah, just that's how you pay us. Buy a subscription.
I'm waiting for that day too. How do I just take it?
Yeah, we actually.
I cannot hear you.
Oh, here, 1 second. No, I see that. 1 second. Hello?
Yeah.
Right.
There we go. That was weird.
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I just unmuted it and muted it. That's happened before. I have no idea why it does it. It just randomly cuts out.
That's the first time I did it, the entire conversation, though.
Yeah, it doesn't like him. I don't know what it is.
And the mic is really sensitive. Yeah, so the next Kickstarter that we're doing is actually not a comic, even though ours did pretty awesome. It's this map, which is like a video game, and we're going to put it on our website.
Okay.
Basically it started off where when we were creating the comic, we were talking about trying to keep things as congruent as possible, like avoid the stuff from Marvel where like they bring back people back from the dead through magic, and it's like, we like, so there's stuff like that we want to just kill off people. But the other thing that made me like tangent off onto was he wants to make all of our cities based off of local cities, but then like turn them into real cities. So we took where he's from, Schenectady, New York, took the grid, like the map where houses are, but destroyed the houses and put up skyscrapers. Yeah, exactly. So like basically we took the general layout. So if anyone's from the area, they would kind of see that. We left stuff like City Hall, a library, a bell tower, stuff like that. And then we would just swap out other buildings for more magnificent buildings. And by doing stuff like that, it's going to make how we lay stuff out much more realistic. So if they're running down Elm Street and they take a right onto Fifth Avenue, it's like always the same buildings that you're going to see. So we were like, oh, we should create a map. So it started off with like a 2D map, and it was really simplified. And then he found out he has a friend that makes video games, but he could turn it into a map. As we're building out the map, we're realizing, hey, we could actually kind of turn this into a semi-video game where it's like an exploratory game where you could walk around the city. And the city eventually will be synced to our story to the point where, like, say in the story, one of the buildings gets blown up. Well, when you're in the city, you're going to see rubble. Like it'll be like a place that. Yeah, and then the cool thing is that so the website I completely built on my own. So everything in it I've coded out, and so with that I'm going to be able to take everything, including the game. And when somebody else gets to a level where they want to expand whatever they're doing, we'll be able to literally package this up and deliver it to them. We'll be like, oh, do you want to have your own digital platform where you can have your own comics in a subscription? Here you go, right? Do you want to turn your world into a map? Well, we got a guy. Here you go, right? And so like we definitely want to, like, we're building it out ourselves this whole time. Like I said, super slow, but when we get to a certain point, it's hopefully going to be just ridiculous, which is going to be awesome.
That's very ambitious.
Yeah. This is like more like a 10-year time frame, but like stuff like the map is coming out, like hopefully the beginning of next year, maybe May, something like that. We got to figure out a good time to run it.
3 solo series. That didn't happen.
But now we are getting the extra solo series though, which is nice because we hit our 3rd stretch goal. So that's pretty awesome. Trying to think if there's any other, because there's another one that's coming out by the end of the year, right?
No, it's just gonna be ink.
Whatever happened to Scales?
That's coming out.
Can we still have drawing of it though?
Yeah.
Oscar Ricardo. Yeah. It's funny. One of our artists, it started off looking really good, and then we slowly, well, he didn't notice because he was just stoked, but I slowly started noticing that I'm like 99.999% sure that he was taking images and like comic booking them, like turning them into black and white and then making them look like they were drawn. But like basically, and then kind of like almost copying, pasting them into an image to make a panel. And like some of the stuff was good, but then I'm starting to notice, I'm like, these things don't match up. Like this is almost too real compared to these other things. And then it finally happened where we had a car driving and it said Camaro on the side of it. And we're like, dude, like you clearly cut that out. Like nobody puts a brand name on a car in a comic book. Like you clearly cut that out. So the artwork still did great. Our colorist made it look so much better than just the original black and white. Like it looks phenomenal in comparison. But there's stuff like that. So I forgot that he was the one working on our second comic, but or not our second comic, second solo series called Scales. And it's very much like 2 pages. Yeah, but you could tell. Like I was just like, we can't keep working with him because he could make one mistake where I don't catch it, and somebody like that Camaro, I was able to just wipe that out of the image.
There was a girl that I went to school with. She saw a page or something I'm in love with cars. That was a Camaro.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
Don't tell anybody.
Yeah, and so that's the thing. It's like stuff like that. We gotta make sure that doesn't happen. But but it's cool because like I said, we're learning along the way. We got introduced to a letterer. So like I did the first lettering, and it was atrocious. But basically, it's just because I have Photoshop and I know how to use it. I'm not great at doing comics, but I know how to use Photoshop very well. So like I've made some changes and corrections to the original artwork when it first came in because there was some stuff on there that was really bad, like stuff that like it didn't like if you read the story, the emotion didn't make sense, and I'm like I need to fix this, so I had to go in and like curve the eyes a little bit to like make them have a different emotion, change their mouth. I added tears to one scene because the guy was like it looked like he was really upset, but it was like actually have you seen our comic?
Not yet.
I won't spoil anything, but some guy is at the, pure desperation. So the guy should be bawling, and the guy just looks like, like he's just. So I had to make him cry, and but I went in, I created a teardrop, I put it into I zoomed super far in, being very fine detail. So then when the colorer came in and did his work too, it was like, oh, like that's what we wanted, yeah. So it was very cool to still be involved with it, but the lettering was just I just kind of threw it together because I'm like this looks like I've seen it before.
I just wanted it out there.
Yeah, and he just wanted it out there, and paying for more stuff was taking too much time. So we ended up finding a letter from no, is that the guy who gave it to us? No,
He's told me about that.
Yeah. So he told us about the letter. And we used him, and we got it back, and we're like, damn, like this is like so much better. And so like now we can forward that guy off onto other people, get him more work first off, which is great, but also improve other people's comics. And so even though we got, shitty luck in the beginning, it's great that we're like slowly learning from it and not letting that knowledge just get thrown away as we progress. We're trying to ensure others keep coming.
That's really cool, bro. Well, I have to get going, you guys, because I have to go pick up my kid from school.
Eventually, right?
But I appreciate you guys having me on. And like I said, I'm willing to do this again if you guys have time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we got to figure that out, man.
Yeah, and I'll be in Nashville, so that'll be fun. We'll have dual screens. We'll have like 8 people in a party. It'll be great.
All right. Well, I will catch you guys later.
Definitely. Have a good one.
Thanks.